Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to another video, and today in Delta Force I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of the best weapons that I found for each of the different classes. So whatever class you prefer to main, I've got a good weapon that you can use here. So the way that weapons work in Delta Force is that there are weapon restrictions. You can't use assault rifles per se on classes outside of the assault class, except with a few exceptions. So there will be the odd assault rifle for the engineer or for the medic, and then similarly you can also get the SMG for some of the classes, but you can only use, for example, marksman rifles or sniper rifles with the Recon class. Guys, before we get started, if you do enjoy this kind of content here on the channel, make sure that you are subscribed. Plenty more guides to come on Delta Force in the future. I've already got one up on the gunsmith and how all of the attachments work, what all of the various attributes on the weapons do to the weapon, and which ones you need to be focusing on and thinking about. So feel free to go and check that one out if you're interested. So let's begin with everybody's favorite class here, the assault class. So for this one, I've gone with the M4A1 assault rifle, the G18, which is the only automatic secondary in the game to my knowledge. Really nice secondary. Tactical dagger for the melee weapon, of course, and then the healing syringe is what I generally go for my tactical piece of gadget. You can also go for the grenade launcher or the tactical shield if you wish, but honestly, I think the healing syringe is the most versatile piece of kit that the assault class has. So the assault class can only choose from assault rifles and shotguns, and you're probably going to want to use an assault rifle most of the time. And honestly, the M4A1 is kind of an outlier because it has one of the fastest muzzle velocities amongst all of the assault rifles. TTK on a lot of these rifles is pretty similar. They're going to have varying rates of fire and varying damage models, but when it comes down to it, there's pretty negligible differences on the TTK of these weapons, so a lot of it just comes down to personal preference and what you prefer. But to me, the M4A1 comes in at 800 rounds per minute. It's got 600 meters per second muzzle velocity, so that's pretty up there, pretty good in this game. And you know, I feel like bullets in general do take quite a while to hit their targets, so faster muzzle velocity is always a good thing. So I'm going to link all of these setups in the description down below so you guys can import them for yourselves. But what I've done here is stacked as much control and as much handling as possible for this weapon. So control is going to reduce your recoil, both horizontal and vertical. And if we take a look here, you can see all of the modifiers have been drastically reduced. And then handling is going to, well, it should decrease your ADS speed, your sprint fire delay. You're going to see, because I have a drum mag on, it's actually getting nerfed quite a lot. So most of the handling here that I put on the weapon is to make up for the penalty that the drum mag has introduced. So you're going to see that a lot of this stuff here, so for example, the Ranger handguards give you more control. Then for the barrel, we have the AR Spec Ops integrally suppressed one. Then for foregrip, we have the X25U. This one is going to give you a ton of control, but at the cost of some handling. So if you guys want to gain back some of that handling, but gain some control, actually the Resonant ergonomic grip, and I think there's a version 2 of this. Yeah, this one here, Resonant Mark II ergonomic grip. You're going to see you will lose some control, but you'll gain back some handling. So that would sort of even out the weapon a little bit. That's also a great choice. Then I go for the Phantom rear grip here at the back. Gives the weapon a lot more handling and some control. For the stock, I use the 416 light stock. Again, more handling, more control. As for the optic, this is of course totally personal preference, but I usually prefer running with the panoramic red dot sight whenever I can. It does unlock quite late in the unlocks though, so you know, if you don't have that, feel free to use something else. Now, one thing you may wish to change is the magazine. So as I already mentioned, this really nerfs your handling, and you're going to see here, we put on the regular mag, and then we put on the small mag assist there at the bottom as well. And then we come back to the drum mag. This drops the handling by -16. So let's just hop in the test range. The handling is just really good. The ADS speed is awesome, as is the sprint to fire time. If we come back out of the firing range, go back to modify here, and now we stick on the drum mag. Whoopsie daisy. You will now notice that the ADS speed has been drastically reduced. Now, whether you want to take the drum mag and have 60 rounds instead of 30, or maybe even, to be honest, I wouldn't recommend going the middle way, because you would be forgiven for thinking that this magazine here that gives you 45 rounds would only give you half of the handling penalty. But you can see you're only actually gaining back 4 handling by taking this over the drum mag. So for that reason, I would say you either want to go drum mag or just go for the 30 round mag and have all of that nice handling. Experiment with it yourselves, guys. Play around. It's a really great weapon either way, and I hope you'll do well with it. Alrighty, the next setup that I've been using a lot for the support class for Stinger is the SMG45 with, again, the G18, the same dagger, and then I like to take the ammo crate here. Also, the med combo is a good choice, but generally speaking, the ammo pack is inferior to the ammo crate, and the same thing goes with the med kit. Claymore, a bit of a niche situation, whereas, you know, the ammo crate or the med combo here is always going to be somewhat useful. But for me, since I already have a pistol that is just so good at healing myself and my allies, I generally stick with the ammo crate. So you do have a few assault rifles available for the support class as well, but for me, they really shine with the SMGs here. Now, the SMG45 is actually available for a couple of other classes, I think at least for the Recon. Why am I taking the SMG45? Well, one of the downsides of SMGs is that they generally have much slower muzzle velocities. Most of them have 400 meters per second. The SMG45, however, has around a base of, I believe, 475. And if we come into modify here, you're going to notice that this silencer, this suppressor, I should say, that I've put on here, gives you range and muzzle velocity. So now sitting at 546, it's getting pretty close to the 600 meters per second of the M4A1 that we were looking at before. So it's really going to negate a lot of the leading that you're going to have to do with your target. As for the actual setup itself, pretty much the same deal here, especially since with an SMG you want to be running and gunning, a lot of control, a lot of handling, but also this time some accuracy here, because this is going to buff your hip fire, and that is also important for SMGs. So for the barrel, I have gone with the bamboo rat short barrel, going to give you more control and a lot more handling there. We've already been over the suppressor. Same foregrip on this one, the X25U, really just one of, if not the best foregrips in the game. I use this on a lot of setups. I've got a purple laser here. You don't have to have a laser if you don't care about your hip fire that much, because it is going to nerf the handling a little bit. So if you prefer having that off, but you know, I like it. For the magazine, we've only got one choice here. That's the 40 round extended. Definitely recommend going for that one. And of course, you always want to have the mag mount there, because that's basically just an extra 1 to handling. Then for the stock, we have the same one, the 416 stock. And for the rear grip, same one again, that phantom rear grip. So you're going to see a lot of similar attachments here. The phantom rear grip, the 416 stock, and is it the X25U angled combat grip. These are like the 3 attachments that you want to have on if you want to stack handling and control. And this thing is just an absolute beast. I feel like I can jump around corners, and you know, for a game like Delta Force where the movement is a lot slower than it is in Battlefield, even though they have buffed it since the alpha, I feel like this weapon really allows you to still make use of a run and gun playstyle. Maybe not a quite Call of Duty like, but a little bit closer to that. Again, if you're somebody who doesn't like that kind of playstyle, you prefer to sit back, maybe like this sort of an SMG style isn't for you, and you'd be better off using an assault rifle with this class. The K416 is a really great one. I haven't unlocked all of the attachments for that yet, so I can't really showcase it for you guys, but I did do back in the alpha test, and I can confirm that it is one of the best assault rifles in the game. So if we take a quick look at the stats here for the SMG45, you may think the MP5 is as good as it, because it also does 26 damage in the chest, but actually the damage fall off for the MP5 starts much sooner than it does for the SMG45. So for the SMG45, it looks like it's about 26 meters or so. That's when you're going to go beyond that 4-shot kill in the chest distance. For the MP5, it's slightly sooner than that. I think it's around 20 meters or so. If we go and check the control here, again, massive changes to all of these recoil multipliers. Recoil has just been cut in half for this weapon. And then for the handling, nice changes here as well. You'll see that overall, like, the handling hasn't been buffed massively, but really what we're doing is trying to stack control whilst not having the handling be reduced. So we're trying to always counteract any of the negative effects that come from increasing the control and decreasing the recoil by putting additional handling on the weapon. So that way you're going to be able to just pretty much full auto down your enemies without having to burst it all too much, but you're still going to have that super snappy ADS speed. So if we come into the range here, Like, you really don't have to burst this weapon at all. Super snappy ADS speed. Super fun to use. I really can't recommend this enough. I think it's probably my favorite weapon in the game at the moment. Next up, we have the Engineer. So I generally like to play as Shepherd for this one. Uluru, the other guy, I can confirm for you guys, he's pretty good as well though. And once again, I'm going to be using a rifle here. So this time, the Engineer do get access to a couple of different rifles. They get the G3, and they also get the Scar H. And then the AKS-74U is like a universal assault rifle for most classes, so you can use that if you want to like level up one gun and use it through a bunch of classes. That's a good one. So is the Kar-15, but they're not quite as good in my opinion as the Scar H here. Then we've got the G18 again, same dagger, and the gadget here is really going to depend on the situation. The AT4 launcher is always a good choice, but you know, also the Stinger, the Javelin. I don't really like it too much. It's good if somebody is so flamming like a Recon, but if they're not, I prefer the AT4 launcher. So full disclosure, I haven't finished progressing this weapon yet in this build of the game because I've already done this like 3 times before, so I didn't prioritize this weapon, but nothing has changed since the alpha, so this is still the good old Scar H that it was before. And once again, we're going to be stacking control and handling. I know, guys, there's a bit of a theme here. Those are pretty much the 2 most important stats on the weapons in the game. So for the barrel, we have the Scar H Practical Standard Barrel. That is also going to increase your range a little bit there, so that's quite nice. Then for the muzzle, I have the Steel Muzzle Brake here, which gives us a little bit more control. For the foregrip, at the moment, I'm using the Resonant Ergonomic Grip 2, but like I said before, you can also go for, where is it? Yeah, the X25U. I haven't unlocked it yet, but that's, as you can see, going to give you slightly more control at the cost of slightly more handling. I like to try to get my control up to around 75 or 80, so I'm probably going to take that one there. Do we also have, yeah, the Resonant Mark II foregrip is also a good option. So if you prefer a little bit more handling over control, then you can go for the Resonant Mark II. That's also a great choice there. For the magazine, again, it comes down to personal preference. As you can see, this 50-round drum mag is going to nerf your handling by 13. I'll probably end up running with it anyway, but if you run into problems, you might want to take the 30-round mag. The Scar only comes with a 20-round mag as default, so in my opinion, that's just way too little. You definitely want to be going for at least the 30-round magazine there. And again, as I say, if you're already going to take a hit of -8 to the handling, you may as well just take -13 and go and get the 50-round drum mag. Then for rear grip, at the moment, I'm just using the M7 stable, but what you want to be using is probably the Phantom rear grip, just like on the other 2 loadouts. And for the stock, once again, I have the 416 light stock. The stock, there's like so many different options for this. Some of them do the exact same thing, by the way. So you may think that like all of these stocks do something different, but you will notice that like some of them just look slightly different, but have the exact same effect. But for me, the 416 light stock is one of the best ones. Exactly the same here for the optics. At the moment, I've got the combat red dot sight. So if you don't have the panoramic red dot, so you can see I need to get this one to level 40 to unlock it, I think you unlock the combat red dot sight fairly early on, and that to me is the second cleanest red dot sight in the game. But yeah, this weapon is super, super solid. Again, a really, really quick muzzle velocity, 668 meters per second with this loadout. So that's going to be faster than most of the other assault rifles in the game. 25 damage as well, so it's going to be a 4-hit kill up close. And the fallout here doesn't start with a Scar H until, I think it looks like, what is that, 40 meters or so? So, you know, up to 40 meters, this is going to be a 4-hit kill guaranteed. It is only going to be 47 in the head, so assault rifles only have a 1.9 times headshot multiplier, so it's still going to be like a 3-tap in the head. Checking in the stats once again here, you can see that the vertical recoil multiplier has almost been cut in half. That's always my goal when I go for stacking control. And then for the handling here, you can see we've also reduced our ADS speed a little bit. Sprint fire delay has been reduced, ADS movement speed has been increased, all the things we want, so definitely a super solid choice there. Alright guys, last but not least, we have the Recon Class, and this is going to be a bit of an unusual one because I'm not much of a sniper. So when I play Recon, I like to go for a slightly more CQC sort of loadout, I like to have an automatic weapon. You can definitely put a sniper on this though as well. So we're going to be actually using the VSS Marksman rifle, which is the only Marksman rifle available for the Recon that can do full auto. Then we have the G18 again, the same dagger, and the respawn beacon I find to be the most useful gadget for the Recon. Laser indicator is only useful if you have a lot of vehicles and if there are some engineers using javelins. And then the Claymore mine is pretty situational. Maybe if you're a sniper and you're camping up in a tower or something, you can use that. But for me, it's always going to be the respawn beacon. So the VSS here actually does 33 damage, which means it is going to be a 4-shot kill. But if you're up against somebody who has been even the tiniest bit injured, if they're on 99 HP, it's going to make it a 3-shot kill. The range is insane here. So if we go down to details, you're going to see that that 3 or 4-shot kill is going to continue here all the way up to, I think this is around 130 meters. So unlike a lot of the other weapons that are 3 or 4-shot kills that start to fall off around 20, 30 or 40 meters, the VSS is going to do it just like a Marksman rifle all the way up to 130. And once again here, I've gone with a lot of control to reduce the recoil. Handling, I've tried to keep it as high as I can, but it just is really difficult with this weapon because it is a Marksman rifle after all. So for this one, I have gone with the only barrel option you have here, the VSS Tsunami. This is pretty much a no-brainer. Then I've got 2 optics on here. I've actually gone with an XCOG scope, which is an ACOG scope, I guess. Then I've gone with the panoramic red dot sight offset. So you've basically got the best of both worlds there. For the stock, again, we only have the 1 stock option with this weapon, the Elite Integral stock. That's definitely something you want to be taking. And then when it comes to the magazine, I've got the 45 round extended one, the mag mount there again, Resonant Mark II foregrip on this occasion here. Again, you can go with the X25U angle grip if you want even more control, but then for me the handling is starting to get a little bit too low there. The weapon just isn't snappy enough if somebody like jumps around a corner on you. So let me show you guys how I generally use this one. It's not going to have quite the same time to kill. You're going to notice that up in the top left, knockdown time is 0.4. For most of the assault rifles and the SMGs, it's 0.3. So you're not going to win like a straight up one-to-one firefight at these sorts of ranges. But like I said, if you want to get into some longer range engagements, it kind of fills the role of a sniper rifle and an assault rifle at the same time for me. So it's kind of one of those one-of-a-kind weapons. One of the things you are going to have to watch out for, though, is that the muzzle velocity of this weapon is painfully slow. So at the moment, even though we have the extra barrel on there, it's only 392 meters per second, nowhere near the 6 or even 700 that some of the other weapons in the game have. So if you are tracking a moving target at 100 meters away, you're going to have to lead that target quite a lot there. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but I think this is one of the most interesting weapons for the Recon class at the moment. And that is about going to do it, guys. Hopefully this gave you guys some good suggestions. I'm certainly going to be trying out a lot of the other assault rifles and the SMGs because there are some really great ones in there. In fact, I don't think I've found an assault rifle or an SMG at the moment that isn't pretty good, so I'll be bringing you guys some top guides on that in the future. Let me know your comments down below what sort of weapons you've been using and getting on with in Delta Force. But otherwise, guys, thank you so much for watching the video today. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.